Hello, this is Jay Denson of Fit Health Well, and today I have a detox specialist. Her name is Mariah Manazza, and she was very gracious to come on our show today and just give us some information regarding just detox and healthy eating of that nature. As you guys know, I'm a big advocate of a healthy lifestyle. Wellness is not only mental and physical, but it is also the diet. So, as you guys listen to my program and I put these episodes out, I want to be sure that I give you guys multiple options in terms of education and just what you can learn. So without further ado, we're going to speak with her. So, Mariah, how are you today?
I'm doing really well. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well. So just for our listeners, can you just give them a little bit of background about yourself?
Sure. So I'm a health and detox specialist. My journey began with horticulture, really. I was originally in horticulture, and my love for herbs and different plants sort of began to blossom. And then basically, because I experienced a long list of health issues, that led me down the road to discovering how to heal the body. And as I was healing myself from my long list of health issues, I took Dr. Robert Morris's detoxification specialist level 1, and I'm currently working on level 2, just so that I would be able to teach and to help others with their health issues. So
absolutely. And you just spoke, you said something that was key, and this is, I think that'll be something very useful for our listeners. You said that you had health challenges as well. What were some of those challenges, and how did you correct that?
Okay, so I was living in the city of Vancouver, BC, Canada, and I had a long list of health issues. I mean, they began at the age of 6. I had excruciating leg pain, unexplainable pains in my body, things like that. And as I progressed into my 20s, I was experiencing a lot of migraines, short-term memory loss, cysts on my body. I had so many health issues, from depression to insomnia, and it just got worse and worse and worse. By the time I was 35, I had episodes where I couldn't even walk. I wasn't one to go to doctors so much, but so I didn't get, an official diagnosis, but just knowing now that, say, cysts, for example, are one step away from tumors, this leads me to believe I was on the road towards, some really debilitating disease issues. So I never felt quite right. And it wasn't until I discovered Arnold Ehret's information. You can look him up. This is a book written in the early 1900s. And once I began reading his work, it just opened up a million doors, and my quest was on. And from 35 until now, I'm 42 now, I managed to heal all of my health issues. Healing definitely takes time, but it can be done no matter what you experience, as far as I'm concerned. And so the health issues I experienced, I mean, I could go on and on, from poor eyesight, I had acne, like I said, the cysts, just massive depression, just, I can write a list out.
And for the people that's listening, and you've disclosed your age, I never to ask a lady's age, but you disclosed it. And at the age of 42, our viewers will see this on the YouTube channel. But if you're listening to the podcast, Mariah looks amazing. Like, for 42 years old,
Thanks.
I would honestly peg her. 25, clear skin.
Whoa.
Yeah, clear skin. You really look well. So in saying that, what were some of the foods, because I kind of want to dig into the detox portion of what's helping our immunity or just helping us in our everyday life. What were some of the foods that you probably seen like a quick turnaround from, in terms of like your mood or how you felt?
Well, I would have to say it's more about what you eliminate than anything. And at that time, I had moved to a 7-acre farm from the city because I wanted to heal. Now, at that time, I thought I wasn't entirely sure, but I just wanted to know where all my food was coming from. So I moved to a 7-acre farm, and I had, all organic, everything you could think of, from grass-fed meats to milks, raw milks, and all this pasture-raised chicken, eggs, and things. And what I discovered was my body still wasn't healing. And so what it took was the elimination of these foods and the incorporation of a lot of fruits and vegetables and a lot of leafy greens, really. I mean, I've basically lived on only fruits, vegetables, and greens for the last, I'm going into 7 years now. I mean, the odd time I've had some popcorn, for example, but other than that, it's been just those foods. And those are the foods that will allow the body to heal, because they digest the easiest. And so if your body's not digesting, then your body can heal, because it can only do one major task at a time. And most of us are in digestion mode our entire lives. We don't realize it. We wake up, we have an early big breakfast, then we have a lunch, then we have a dinner, but these foods can take upwards of several hours to digest. So before we've even completely digested one meal, we've introduced a new meal. And so if this goes on for a lifetime, the body never really does get a chance to eliminate or heal, unless you get a cold or a flu, for example. That's elimination. That's the body saying, I've had enough. I need to go into elimination now. You're going to have lack of appetite. You're going to feel bad. You're going to not want to eat. And even then, some people still feel that they're supposed to eat. And that can be, some of the worst things you can do, because you're stifling the elimination, because when we eat, the body has to go back to digestion and it'll stop eliminating. So, yeah.
And that's great that you said that. I kind of want to recap what she said, listeners, is, I asked her a question of what foods, that helped, and she immediately went to elimination, right? And that's key. That's something that I found also in my diet, and people I've spoken to, is what at least I found success in is just reducing the amount of processed foods, and then refined sugars, right? Like, just if I'm gonna have sugars, I'd rather get it from fruits instead of putting sugar on everything. I probably put a douse of organic honey and things like that. And I just felt the difference in regards to that. Asking you this, just going into my next question is, let's just say you have someone comes to you and they're like, Mariah, like, I can't sleep well. I'm at the same stubborn weight. I feel horrible. What would you suggest for them?
Just some general advice that I generally give out is to definitely eliminate dairy and processed foods, and incorporate fruits on an empty stomach in the morning. If you can do that. Some people, they're very toxic, so to speak. So fruits, actually, some people can't handle fruits right away, because fruits are basically medicine. So some people may have to start with, more vegetables or greens, things like that in the mornings. But natural whole foods is the biggest, I guess I could say, takeaway in terms of helping an individual to heal.
Absolutely. And then earlier you touched on, you spoke about the body and just, it needs time to digest, right? And process the food and things like that. Just from either your experience or what you could suggest, how should we space out our meals? Because I know typically the status quo seems to be every 3 to 4 hours. Is that something that you did and was successful at?
Well, over time, I've gradually transitioned towards eating less meals. It's not something that happens overnight. I mean, when I first transitioned over to just fruits, greens, and veggies, I was eating basically all day long, right? Because they're less dense foods and they don't fill you up. You don't get that satiation feeling. But over time, I've incorporated more intermittent fasting. And so now, I mean, I don't begin my first meal anymore until about 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. So whenever I feel like it, I kind of go with the way I feel. And then my first meal is always fruits. And then I'll eat a dinner on regular days. I mean, so for myself, I would say I eat about a meal and a half a day, which is about half of what I used to eat. I do this for health purposes, and I work my way up to it, like I explained. But I do feel that intermittent fasting is a really, it's a game changer in terms of health. I mean, no matter what diet you're on, if you can push your breakfast back a bit later, that can give you added digestive rest from the night before, because the nighttime rest is really the longest we ever go without food for most people. So if you can extend that a bit, just a little bit every day, you're getting added digestive rest, which is more chance for the body to heal and to eliminate. So that's, you know, I fully think intermittent fasting is definitely something people can incorporate for health.
Okay, so in terms of that as well too, you know, we're always told, and I know this as well, but you know, drink fluids throughout the day. I tend to drink a lot of water. I'm always drinking water. You know, I hear a lot about herbal teas and you know, kimchi and things like that. What liquids would aid in terms of detoxing the body?
Well, for starters, just because I heard you mention kimchi, I wouldn't suggest kimchi for detoxification just because it's a fermented food. And all fermented foods, I mean, as much as we love, you know, pickles and fermented foods, they do feed fungal issues in the body. So basically what I generally suggest, and people can decide for themselves, is distilled water, because most of the water out there, no matter where you get it from, either has some chlorine in it or fluoride or additives, or it's been in, you know, dirty copper piping. So if we distill our water, at least we know we're getting clean, pure water. But most of my hydration and most of the true hydration comes from actually water-rich foods. So a lot of fruits, greens. If your meals are water-rich, you're getting true cellular hydration, because water doesn't truly hydrate us like we think. You know, we could be drinking lots and lots of water, but water is more as a waste removal. Like, it helps move waste out of the body. And for our true hydration, it actually does come from these structured water-rich hydrating fruits and vegetables. So I always suggest, you know, to do, I start every morning, actually, my first meal is always a freshly squeezed orange juice. I mean, for almost 3 years now, it's been a freshly squeezed orange juice. And that's how I feel best, you know, and then I'll have my meal a couple hours later.
Yeah, I'll either try that, because I don't really have processed orange juice. So like, I'll either make the orange juice my own, or I'll just get up in the morning and I'll have either water, or I'll have a green tea. Just in terms of the body. You spoke on water, you said distilled water. What about alkaline water? Because that seems to be that was trendy at one point in terms of, you know, health and wellness. Is that beneficial as well?
To be honest, I haven't done my due diligence in terms of looking into the alkaline water. I have heard in my circles that it's not possible, because it depends on how things metabolize within the body. Like, for example, you know, a lot of people say lemons are really acidic, but they have an alkaline ash residue in the body. So they're actually alkaline in the body, even though they're acidic if we test them outside of the body. So a lot of people that I've heard, and I need to look into it further myself, have said that this alkaline water is basically a gimmick, and that it's not possible to alkaline the body through just drinking alkaline water. I mean, it does have, your diet's going to play a large role regardless. So, but I really can't comment extensively on that without doing, you know, some more research myself. And I don't have any experience with alkaline water. I've basically researched into the distilled so extensively that I thought that was the best option, which it is alkaline in itself. It's neutral, I guess you could say. Distilled is neutral. So.
Okay. And then, so in addition to that as well, and I have checked out your Instagram, you put a lot of information up there, and we'll share that at the end of the interview. I want to get into like the all aspects of detoxing, and I would probably say a mental detox is great as well. You put up like a yoga post, something regarding like 30 minutes of yoga a day. Do you find is that beneficial in terms of, you know, a lifestyle, a better wellness lifestyle as well?
Oh, absolutely. For myself, I mean, I'll say that when I first began this journey, I was so bad off health-wise that if I did any bit of physical activity, I would get a headache a couple hours later. I was so weak and depleted in the beginning, but after a few years in, I began deep breathing and doing yoga exercises. Some basic, you know, yoga stretches and deep breathing and focusing on the breath work. And it's been a game changer. I mean, because we remove toxins through our breath as well. It helps with, you know, your emotional well-being and just keeping the body, you know, stretched and in shape, as you know, is, you know, optimal for health as well. I mean, we don't want to over-exercise. There is a point of over-exercising, which can be work against you in health, but you don't want to under-exercise either. So you kind of need to find that balance, so we don't create too much lactic acid in the body and then bring our body back into an acidic state when we're trying to bring our body into an alkaline state.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And now I want to talk a little bit about just helping, especially during this whole, you know, this whole COVID thing that we're all going through, the entire world's going through. And, you know, immune boosting is a real, everyone's taking a closer look at this right now. You know, you posted this, and I know turmeric is like one of the spices in terms of just helping that. Do you know of any spices or any foods that to any of your listeners, anyone that will come to you, that would help aid the body and boosting their immune system?
I do. It's quite amazing that if somebody has a yard, you know, you can go out and just take a look at what herbs are growing in their yard, and you'll find, you know, or weeds as people call them, but you'll find so many beneficials out there. So, I mean, I grow a lot of my food when weather permits, but I'm always foraging for the dandelion leaf or the plantain or I'll pick the wild alfalfa, or, you know, many of these herbs that just grow, like the chickweed. People think, you know, they're ripping all this out of their garden, but it's actually got a lot more nutrients and minerals than the salad greens that they're growing. So I always say to pick these wild herbs, add them to your salads or make dressings with them, or I dehydrate them to make green powders for the winter, or I'll dehydrate them for teas. There's so many benefits and uses for these herbs. And I mean, if you don't have a yard, that's fine too. You can pick these up anywhere at your local herb shop and whatnot. And just the basic herbs, I mean, dandelion root is phenomenal for health, and the plantain is just one of my favorite herbs in the entire planet. So
absolutely. Now, yeah, I know you're a vegan. Are you a raw vegan? Like, because I know there's in terms of veganism, and I'm speaking to you know, numerous people. One gentleman was a running vegan. He was raw, and then we also I spoke to the owner of Plant Matters Kitchen here in London, Ontario. He's a raw vegan as well. Are you a raw vegan, or do you cook your veggies? And how do you prepare your meals?
Well, I try not to take any titles, just because I realize how quickly things can change in life. So I don't take the raw vegan title. I did live on a raw vegan diet during the most intense times of my healing journey. So that was an entire year that I did on just fruits and greens and raw veggies. But now, I mean, on a regular, I adhere more to, say, a mucusless diet, for example, which is still vegan and it's mostly raw, but I have steamed veggies in the evening if it's a regular eating day. See, I fast 1 day a week, so I eat 6 days a week, and I do a lot of intermittent fasting. And some days I skip my steamed veggies and my big salads, and I'll just have fruits. I just go with how I feel. But so I would say, you know, if I had to categorize myself, I would be, you know, maybe 80%, 90% raw vegan. But I do believe as well that if you're going to eat vegetables, because a lot of them are quite difficult to digest. So if you're going to eat vegetables and you're not attempting to heal the body, for example, it's best to steam them. because that bypasses the first stage of digestion, and lightly steaming them renders them more digestible, and they'll move along the intestinal tract a lot easier, especially if you accompany them with a salad. So I have my steamed vegetables. That's, you know, a staple on my regular eating days generally.
I like that. Like, this is the greatest part about having this show is I'm a student, right? Everyone that I come on, I'm constantly learning. And I did not know, it actually makes sense when you said it. When you steam your veggies, you're kind of skipping the process. You're probably helping your body out during that first step, aiding in digestion, which is wonderful. What about grilling? Are we losing any nutrients when we grill it? And is it this on the same level of steaming the veggies?
I guess it depends on how you grill them, and if you're putting the top down, and as long as you're not, you know, charring them. But if you can lightly grill them and still get that steaming action, I suppose. I haven't, you know, grilled a lot of veggies myself, unless I have been to, you know, barbecues or dinner parties when other people are eating other foods, and they'll, you know, put some veggies on the grill for me and I'll eat them. But I don't have a lot of information about the grilling versus the steaming. I know the steaming is a very gentle way of cooking them, just lightly steaming them. But, you know, I think, yeah, with grilling, you'd have to be getting the kind of the steam action and keeping them quite tender still and things. And we all know that the char isn't good for health. But
yeah. And I think if you guys are gonna do it, and again, I don't know enough about this, and I'll get information. But if you have to grill it, maybe like a George Foreman grill or something to that, right, where it's not out in the open and things of that nature. So, so the next thing I want to ask you as well too is the fruits, right? So we spoke a lot about veggies. I want to talk about fruits for a second and kind of hone in on that. I like to, you know, it's been defined, and I kind of agree with it, as nature's candy when we kind of want something sweet. You know, I'm a big advocate for berries. I love blueberries, strawberries, blackberries, and of that nature. What are and again, just for someone that's just starting out and they're really trying to attempt to eat healthier, what are the best beneficial fruits to consume on a daily basis?
Oh, well, I mean, all fruits are so beneficial, especially, you know, wild fruits or organic fruits, of course. But I mean, the fruit world just has so much to offer. So, I mean, take watermelon, for example, or any red fruit like dark red cherries. Anything that's kind of red or purple is the most aggressive. So those ones are going to be the most detoxifying. You know, watermelon looks pretty innocent, but if you really want to get into detoxification, try just eating or juicing watermelon and consuming that. And then we've got the apples, which are, you know, the subacid fruits. They're a little more gentle. They're good fruits to start with if you have digestive issues or you don't want to go too quickly with detoxification, things like that. So the apples are more gentle, and the mangoes. It's just that all fruits have, you know, so much hydration and vitamins and minerals and amino acids, and just so healthy. So, I mean, you can't go wrong consuming any type of fruit. The berries are the brain food. So you said you liked blueberries and berries, but those are really good for the brain. And then the melons are really good for cleansing the intestinal tract. Very hydrating, very gentle. Most melons, except for the watermelon, like I said, is very aggressive, but very, very cleansing. So
that's great. And again, you know, we're educating listeners as we listen to this stuff. This is something that I kind of want your feedback on, because I kind of know the answer to it, but you know, I know and I'm speaking to the audience that, you know, it's in a haste and they're like, all right, I got a bag of frozen veggies, or I'm gonna make this smoothie with this frozen fruit. Frozen versus fresh. What's the better option?
Well, fresh definitely is, you know, optimal, but if all you've got is frozen, that still retains a lot of the nutrition, and it's fast food, and it's, you know, the healthiest fast food you can find. I love to make, I freeze bananas, a lot of bananas and berries, And one of my staples that I just absolutely love, you could say I'm addicted to it, is I'll blend up a few dates in the blender in a tiny bit of water, and then I'll add bananas and I blend that up. And then I add a little bit of blueberries or raspberries, and there you go. Voila, you have banana nice cream is what we call it, because, you know, it's dairy free. It's very nice and healthy.
I like that. That's actually a good recipe. Guys, you're gonna have to rewind that and make sure that you get what she has. Do you have any other recipes that you know that are beneficial that you please share them?
I do. One of my favorite is applesauce. I mean, because I'm always looking for a good satiating meal to offer to people from the fruit world. So with this, you can eat. The beauty about fruits and vegetables is you can basically eat as much as you want. I mean, so you don't have to restrict your calories or anything like that. But this raw applesauce is, once again, you blend dates in the blender. So maybe a handful of pitted dates. A Vitamix works best for a lot of especially for the banana nice cream, just because it's such a high powered blender. But you add a handful of dates in a little bit of water, and then you chop up about 4 apples, for example. Sometimes I eat 5 apples. You put it in there, you blend it until it's still a bit chunky. You put it in a bowl, and then you add a whole bunch of raisins and cinnamon, and you could put maple syrup or your honey like you mentioned, and it is delicious. It's a huge bowl you get to eat, satisfying and very cleansing. So that's another raw applesauce.
And we put on our Fit Health Well page, which we're still growing as now, is I put up the eat the colors, right, in terms of fruits and things like that. So making sure like pineapple, yellow, mangoes, you know, then the blueberries and things of that nature. So it's definitely important to include variety, right? I would say just make sure that you're having different, because it's important for nutrition, for vitamins and things of that nature. So you definitely want to mix up your meals, right? I would say during the course of a day and a week. Would you, anything to add to that?
Well, with healing as well comes simplicity. With simplicity, I meant to say, comes healing. So if you're looking to heal the body, because we get into detoxification and then building. So it depends on, you know, what you want from your diet. But I mean, I know a guy who spent 9 months on just mangoes. He calls himself the Mangotarian, and he ate mangoes for only 9 months to heal his health issues. I mean, we can live on only one type of fruit and live in good health for quite an extended period of time. There's people who have done it with bananas. I did over a month on just my raw applesauce. I basically would have liquids all day, and then I did my raw applesauce in the evening. See, I kind of go in and out of fruit cleanses. I'll balance out for a while, and I'll build, and I'll eat regular foods like big salads and my steamed veggies. But then I will have periods where I'm like, okay, I'm going to do, you know, a week on just apples, or I'm just going to do, you know, a juice fast for 4 days, things like that. So, I mean, variety is good for the building stage, definitely, and for regular diet, for regular health, yes. But in the world of cleansing, if you can do, we call them mono fruit meals, highly beneficial, because the body, the less variety it has to digest and contend with, the more, once again, it puts that energy, that life force energy towards healing. So there's just less to digest. So, you know, I mean, it's very difficult to do unless you're, unless you've been into it for a while, right? I mean, when I first began and I just came off of different foods, there's no way I could have done a week on apples, right? So I slowly worked my way up to it. Slowly over the years, I knew where I was going. Yeah, so variety, good for building and working out and building muscle. And then for detoxification and cleansing, you want less variety, basically.
Awesome. Thank you. That's actually really a good blueprint in terms of direction, right? Which way to go. All right. So my last question will be, and I think this is probably the most important question, is, you know, I just kind of want to cater to that person listening to this, and they're like, Oh, I've been eating processed food, for the past week or month, and I want to cleanse my body. What basic plan, right, or basic blueprint would you suggest to somebody to go in the right route and detoxifying from all that processed, nasty food that they've been consuming?
Well, I am a big advocate of healthy food swaps. So if I examine somebody's diet, for example, and what they're accustomed to eating, say they love to eat hamburgers and French fries and, ice cream. So I help them transition over to healthier food swaps. Like, for example, instead of eating the ice cream, they can eat the nice cream I suggested, which is primarily from bananas and dates, or there's another version where you can do the dates with coconut milk and other fruits. And then I have other, recipes and things that I generally give out to people that I work alongside to help them transition from the most harmful foods over to less harmful foods. So we just slowly do healthy food swaps. So for example, if somebody's accustomed to white rice, we can switch to wild brown rice, and then over to quinoa, and then over to cauliflower rice eventually. So it's just becomes less and less complex, easier and easier to digest for the body. So healthy food swaps.
There we go. That's great. Actually, and that's something that I've suggested too, because when I was doing personal training as well, and then I was speaking to a lot of nutritionists. You take your bad saturated fats and you do healthy fats, right? So like avocado and nuts and things like that, right? And switching out the refined sugars for natural sugars and things. So that is,
exactly.
Exactly. So Mariah, you gave us, honestly, we went over a lot. You gave us a lot of great information, in terms of detoxing, like you said, the healthy swap. Steamed, this is another thing that was key to me that I listened to, and I hope you guys listen to, with the vegetables, or certain vegetables being hard to digest on the body. You definitely want to steam some of your veggies, and I think what the goal here as well, and this was another key thing that you said that I honed in on, is the body can focus on one thing at a time, so we want to simplify. She said simplify. That's very important. So we definitely went over a lot, and Mariah, thank you so much for all of this information. Before we go, is there anything you want to add to our discussion? Because you did give us a lot of information. Or did we cover it all?
Wow. Well, I feel like I could talk all day, but it's best to just probably keep it short and sweet. But I'm here to discuss or to answer any questions if anybody's ever feels so inclined. I definitely love speaking with different people and trying to help them out, because I do believe that the healthier we get people on this planet, the better decisions they'll make, the better they'll treat other people, and that's how we can get to the root cause and have a better place, because healthy people make good decisions. Unhealthy people, like the people that are possibly making a lot of these decisions for us, I don't think they're so healthy.
No, I don't think so as well. We definitely agree on that. So Mariah, thank you so much. Just give everybody, for anyone that's listening to this and they want to reach out to you for a consultation or a future client, just give them your socials or how they can reach you.
Sure. My website is very easy. It's applediaries.com. And so my information is there if they wish to reach me. On Facebook, I'm under Mariah Manazza. I've shortened my last name to Mazza. It's the same on Instagram as well. So you'll be able to find links from my website to all the Instagram and whatnot. I also have a YouTube channel. I think it's Heal Thyself, Mariah, where I try and share a lot of tips about fasting and different foods and diet and detoxification. And one of the things I do love to begin with when I start working with somebody is an iridology reading. So that can help. That's reading the iris. The iris has all the nerve endings in the body that show up in the iris, and we can see all sorts of things in the iris, from degeneration in different areas. And the eye reveal, it is truly the window to the soul. So I always begin with an iridology reading that kind of gives us a map of one's health issues and what needs to be healed. And then from there, you know, we customize and do the detox and the herbal dietary protocols and different tips and suggestions and things to get on the road to health.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mariah. Again, this is a great episode. Not only am I grateful and I'm thankful that you took the time out of your day to just educate myself, but to educate my listeners as well. And we are going to have all her information on our website, and then we're also going to share it on our socials as well. So again, if you know you need help detoxing, or you need some type of guidance or a blueprint, you know, don't hesitate to reach out to her, because this was a very engaging and great conversation, and I learned a lot. I'm sure you guys learned a lot. So thank you. So again, you can go to the website as well, fithealthwell.com. And then also you can go to our socials, Instagram, fit.health.well. And then also we're on Facebook, Fit Health Well. And then if you'd like to be a guest on the show, or you just have general questions, you can hit us on our email at fithealthwell@gmail.com. Mariah, thank you so much for stopping by today and being our guest. It's really, really appreciate it.
You're welcome. And thank you for all you're doing.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And I'm Jay Denson. And until the next episode, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and be sure to be safe and take care of each other. Have a great day, guys.